Good evening. I want to welcome you and call to order this meeting of the Floresville ISD Board of Trustees for this date, April the 3rd, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Let the record show that there is a quorum of board members, myself, Joel Odom, Ms. Lina Martinez, Mr. Jason Svoboda, Ms. Bonner Reed, Mr. Stephen Shadrach, Mr. Marshall Clear, and Mr. Craig Newts. Furthermore, let the record show that this meeting has been duly posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Now, if you'll stand to your feet, Mr. Svoboda will lead us in prayer, followed by Ms. Martinez leading the pledges.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. We ask you to be with us as we near the end of this school year. We pray that you will be with our students to guide them in making the best decisions each and every day of their lives. We ask you to be with us this evening with the board, administration, and special guest here tonight to help guide us in making the best possible decisions for our schools and our students. And Lord, we ask you to be with us tonight on our journeys home and keep us safe. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I will now recite our FISD vision and mission statement. The FISD vision statement is character, knowledge, competence. Our mission statement is FISD is committed to the development of innovative, lifelong learners who possess character traits to achieve personal and professional success. Now Ms. Reed will recite our FISD goals.
The FISD goals are excellent student outcomes, superior workplace environment, exceptional customer service and community engagement, strategic resource management.
We will now do a round robin of the board reciting of the FISD core beliefs. In FISD, we believe all students feel safe and supported in a developmentally and academically challenging environment.
Families are welcome partners in their children's education.
Faculty and staff are compassionate, dedicated, adaptable individuals who are student-centered.
Campus leadership is fair, equitable, and clearly communicates and engages with stakeholders.
Superintendent and the central office lead with integrity, transparency, and clear communication to provide a well-resourced educational environment.
Trustees provide student-centered and fiscally responsible leadership and transparent and ethical support of all stakeholders.
Mr. Shadrach will now recite our overview of good governance and code of ethics.
Each month we highlight one of our good governance indicators and code of ethics that the FISD Board of Trustees follow to promote the best interests of the district as a whole. This month for the code of ethics we're highlighting is integrity of the character. I will refuse to surrender judgment to any individual or group at the expense of the district as a whole. I will consistently uphold all applicable laws, rules, policies, and governance procedures. I will not disclose information that is confidential by law or that will needlessly harm the district if disclosed. Our good governance indicator for the month is mission, vision, and belief, and a comprehensive statement of goals are developed and in place for the district.
Now we have some recognitions for Floresville ISD students and Teacher of the Month, Dr. Gilstrap.
Yes, I'd like to call up Dr. Farnsworth if you can. Our Students and Teacher of the Month this month comes from Floresville High School. So students, if y'all can come on up with Dr. Farnsworth. And Dr. Freckman as well.
So, good evening, Superintendent Gilstrap, Dr. Odom, and fellow trustee members. So tonight I would like to take a few minutes to recognize we have two Students of the Month and then our Teacher of the Month. So our first Student of the Month is Mercedes Elizondo. She's the daughter of Carlos and Jessica Elizondo and has been a member of FHS JV and varsity cheer since the start of her freshman year. She's also been a member of NHS, where she's been recognized multiple times for having all AB or AB honor roll. She was very excited to be named one of the top 10 students of her class this year, as well as being in the top 10%. She's been a proud member to be a class representative throughout her entire high school years, and has also been a member of the FHS Link crew for the past 2 years. Mercedes was this year's FHS Homecoming Queen and was also able to represent the cheer booster in this year's Peanut Festival, where she won the Grand Champion Award for School Vehicle. In addition to her academic achievements, she won several awards and medals in athletics. Some examples would be part of all the varsity district teams in golf, soccer, and track. She's also competed as an individual medalist in varsity golf and ended up being able to compete at regionals in both golf and track. Mercedes hopes to continue her success at Texas Tech University this fall, and she plans to become an optometrist. So this is Mercedes. Hold that, please. Our next student of the month is Mr. Gavin LaFleur. His parents are Vivian and John LaFleur. Gavin has he has a scholarship to pursue powerlifting at William Jewell College. He also plans to study secondary education and major in biology. Gavin, which is my major, so call me anytime. While at FHS, Gavin is respected by his classmates and has been esteemed by his peers as an all-around outstanding student athlete. He is a 4-year letterman for powerlifting, a 2-time regional qualifier in powerlifting, and a state qualifier in powerlifting. In football, he was a 2-year varsity letterman, 2-time honorable mention all-district, and also an academic all-state qualifier. In baseball, he's a 3-year varsity letterman and an all-district outfielder team. And in welding, he's a 4-year completer and qualified for the state welding competition twice. I wish I had 2 more students like this times 1,000, but here's our both students of the month for the month of April. Gavin LaFleur, here you go. Let's give him a big round of applause. And this young gentleman over here is Dr. Freckman, our April Teacher of the Month. Dr. Freckman has been teaching since 1985. The last 23 years have all been at Floresville High School. He teaches calculus, pre-calculus, as well as Algebra 2, and coaches the UIL academic teams for mathematics, number sense, and calculator applications. He is a member of the NHS Faculty Council. He shares his passion for a subject. He wants to mold young adult minds and likes to see kids inspired by the beauty of mathematics. I never felt the beauty of mathematics personally, but I know there's beauty. I wish you were my math teacher, Dr. Cook. Every year, he enjoys the fresh perspective of students bring to his classroom and guides learners to a deep understanding. Students selected him the most inspirational teacher as well as a dream maker multiple times, and he was voted FISD Secondary Teacher of the Year in 2007, and he has won the Hispanic Heritage Teacher Award in 2009. Dr. Freckman appreciates the district's commitment to teaching excellence and the fact that Floresville puts students first. He is our Teacher of the Month.
I would like to say a few things real quick. Mercedes, I think it's awesome what you do, being top 10, NHS, cheer, the sports, keeping your academics up while doing all these multiple events is awesome. Representing Floresville ISD, you make us look good, and I really appreciate it. Gavin, kind of the same thing with powerlifting, keep up your grades, not just that, multiple sports, and then how you go to biology, how it's 2 different things to me. I don't know how you do it, but I think that's awesome. And again, thank you for representing us. And Dr. Freckman, I was born in '86, so after a year after you started teaching, and I remember having you in high school, and you were awesome. I loved your outfits that you would wear. It was always fun to see the different funny outfits, hats you would wear. I actually enjoyed being in your class, and I had a great time, so it's an honor to have you still teaching and represent Teacher of the Month. Thank you.
All right, parents, y'all come on. And one more.
Thank you.
Dr. Fairwell, thank you very much. I want to enjoy our conversation. Please appreciate the gathering. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good to see you again.
Oh, okay.
All right, we will now recognize our powerlifting state qualifiers. Coach Waters.
Good evening, members of the school board and Dr. Gilstrap. This year, our athletic department has enjoyed much success as a whole. We're very excited about the many accomplishments of our student athletes and our coaching staff. And the best part is the year is not over yet. Tonight, it's my honor to introduce you to students and athletes who have exceeded at the highest levels of their sports on the field and in the classroom. We're going to start with Coach Adam Ramos and Wendy Salazar and the boys and girls powerlifting and our state powerlifters.
Good evening. First, I'd like to say that I'm extremely fortunate to work with some of the best student athletes here in Floresville. We have great kids. I could not be more thankful for the kids that we have. Secondly, girls powerlifting had a great season again. We placed first at 2 invitational meets, qualified 12 girls to regionals, and moved Miss Caitlin on to the state meet. At the regional meet, Caitlin placed second with a total of 755 pounds she lifted with all 3 lifts. As you can see, her body weight is 123, so she's one of my littles. She had a great season in itself. She placed first at 2 invitational meets and was awarded Best Lightweight Lifter at the Karn City meet. At the state meet, she had another phenomenal meet. She lifted a total of 800 pounds. So within 7 days, she increased her total by 45 pounds. She technically tied for third, but she weighed a little bit heavier than the other girls, so she finished with a 4th place medal. So very proud of her. She is also a great student in the classroom. She's ranked 39th in her class, and she's a junior. So you will see her next year. We're hopefully gonna have a different color medal next year. That is the goal. But I just wanna say I'm extremely fortunate to have been her coach for the last 3 years. It's been a privilege to have seen her grow and make tremendous strides. And next year is gonna be hard, her being a senior, but we're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Good evening. This is my first year working here at Floresville, and it's been an amazing experience getting to work with these 2 great young men. They've been great leaders for our team throughout the season, and we're very successful early on and weren't having to repeatedly push themselves every week. We had to meet every week, so they weren't to the point where they needed to continuously compete. They were successful enough early on that we could space them out and keep them working and continue to make gains throughout the season. Jason started out with a 1,300 total and finished the season with a 1,455 total, so he increased about 150 pounds throughout the season in about a 2-month period. Danny started out with about a 1,340, 1,345 total and finished off with 1,465, so also increasing around over 100 pounds throughout the season. These 2 young men have been amazing leaders for our team, giving the great leadership and experience to the younger guys. We had a total of about 38 lifters that competed for us this season, with another about 10, 15 that were in the weight room with us throughout the season that didn't necessarily get to compete at any of the meets, but we're learning from these 2 young men. So they've been great leaders in and out of the weight room. So thank you.
Coach Ramos and these guys won't brag on themselves, but just to give you an idea of their totals, Jason, what'd you deadlift this year?
575.
He picked up 575 pounds with his bare hands. That is an amazing accomplishment.
He got 600 up to here. He was close to locking out.
600 pounds. He picked it off the ground. And that's still more than Danny, right, Danny? And Danny's nothing to shake a stick at. What'd you finish with, Danny?
On deadlift?
Yes.
Deadlift was 560.
560. So you got him by 15, Jason. Congratulations.
That's over a quarter ton.
Where'd you get off bench?
I'm sorry, what year were you, Jason and Daniel?
He's a senior.
You're both seniors?
I'm a junior.
You're a junior and he's a senior, okay.
Yeah, Jason's getting ready to move on to the Marines, so.
Caitlin, Daniel, and Jason, I commend you on all the dedication and commitment and perseverance with powerlifting. That word itself is just very impressive to me, and then to hear the weights that you are, lifting, and it's just very, very impressive. We appreciate hearing all the success that you've had in powerlifting, and also hearing that you not only extend that in powerlifting, but to your leaders outside of that sport as well. Leaderships in the classroom is great. So Daniel and Caitlin, we look forward to seeing you here again next year. And Jason, we wish you the best of luck and thank you for your commitment to serve our country. Congratulations to all three of you.
So we go this way? So,
Oh, yeah. That's been an ongoing.
so we go hands forward or hands back?
Question.
1, 2. 1, 2.
Oh, we got one more over there.
Oh, that's my name.
Good?
You got it?
You can't shake your hand, so appreciate your hand.
You're amazing.
One more year. Congratulations. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Everyone.
All right, we will now recognize.
He just wanted to clarify that he did bench 375, the other one was 325. Getting a couple of different, make sure he told me.
For the record.
All right. Now we have our boys basketball academic all-state honors recognitions. Coach Brooks.
Coach Brooks and the Tiger basketball team had a phenomenal season. I'll let you break that one out next year, but almost let the cat out of the bag. But they had a phenomenal basketball season. We're extremely proud of them. They were able to qualify for the playoffs in a very tough district. But that's not what we're here to celebrate. What we're here to celebrate tonight is these 4 young men were named to the academic all-state team. That's kind of become our custom here in Floresville. We have tremendous student athletes, and boys basketball is no different. Girls basketball would definitely be here and be recognized, but there's no seniors. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Robert Brooks and the academic all-state boys basketball players.
Thank you. All right, we had a great season, like Coach said. We had finished with 22 wins this year, which was 1 win away from breaking the school record. But I'm very proud of these guys. They show up every day. They work hard, and they work hard in the classroom as well. So I'm very proud of them for that. It makes it easy as a coach when you have smart individuals like these guys, when you're trying to call a play or make a play up, and they can get it real quick. So it's great having that. First one, we have Philip Jimenez. Congratulations. Honorable mention, academic all-state. Okay. Phil's a great individual. He comes to work every day, never complains, gives me the stinky eye every now and then. But he comes to work every day, and he works hard and plays hard every day. Ashawn Mayberry, honorable mention. Academic All-State. Ashawn, lockdown defender. When I need somebody taken care of, Ashawn, go get him. He's that guy. We have Mike Reese, honorable mention, Academic All-State. Mike also this year was first team All-District and passed the 1,000-point club for the basketball team in his career. So over 1,000 points, so congratulations to that as well. And then last but not least, we have Connor Felix. He made the first team Academic All-State. That's a high achievement right there. And Connor's our knockdown shooter. He had a 3-point shot. Connor, go get it. So congratulations to you guys, and hopefully in the future, you guys can keep being successful. Thank you.
Philip, I want to say to you, I've got things to say, as always. Philip, I want to congratulate you, man, always working hard. So you've got a good work ethic, and that's going to carry a long ways, not just in basketball and sports, but in everything that you do. And I'm so proud of you, and we are proud of you as a board. Hey, Sean, I tell you, I've seen you grow up. And throughout these past few years, I've been so proud of you. And you called him a lockdown?
Lockdown defender.
Lockdown defender. All right, well, when I play him in one-on-one, and so, because I can't even dribble, so he would get me. But, hey, Sean, congratulations. I'm so very, very proud of you. And congratulations here on your senior year. And then, of course, we've got Mike. Mike, I tell you, your accomplishments, just tremendous. And we're so thankful for you, and thankful for, was it 1,000 points?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my goodness. I couldn't score 2. You got 1,000. And I tell you, and then Connor, I'm also so proud of you and all your accomplishments in basketball and being first district, and it's just a wonderful honor. And I like your shoes. Remember, guys, I like shoes. I want to borrow those, and hopefully they'll fit. All right. Well, thank you, guys. We appreciate you so very much.
Turn around and take a picture real quick. There you go.
Buckshots.
Hang those things up there. Proud guys. Heard it.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2. 1, 2.
Yeah. That it? All right. Now you understand.
All right, we will now recognize the Texas Association of Future Educators National Qualifier. Cassie?
Yes, she is coming in as everyone is leaving. So we did have, we've already recognized our Taffy state qualifiers as a part of Skills USA, but they did go to state competition, and one student qualified for nationals. So we're now going to recognize her. Ms. Korzekwa will make her way in just a second. There she is.
They saved the best for last. Calm down. All right, guys. Gotta keep that man in his place.
Go over there and turn her face this way.
Come this way, Ashley. Come over. We went over this, guys.
They must be good teachers.
I know. Well, hello again. We were here when were we here? In February? Yeah, we were here in February. We were going to state, Taffy, the Texas Association of Future Educators. We went to state in Austin in March, the beginning of March, and let me tell you, did we knock a home run out of the park. And I couldn't be more proud of these people with me. Raven actually is a national qualifier. Raven and myself, first time on an airplane, we will be traveling to Orlando, Florida in June, and she will be competing in the job interview. She was top 10 in the state of Texas for job interview, and that is a
really hard competition, but it is an absolute complete product of the education and training pathway that I teach at the high school. She has been at South Campus Elementary. This is her 3rd year. She is in redirect with special ed. She knows the lingo. She knows the culture. She knows the kids, and she killed it in her interview, and I couldn't be more proud of her. Ashley and them were top 5 in the state of Texas. Her and Eli Perez, they did very well as well, but they were just a state competition. But as for us, our national affiliate is actually the Educators Rising for the nation, and that's who we are affiliated with after the whole Taffy deal. So we'll be going in June, and I think she's got a dang good chance. So I said dang.
I will say that the time that the students spend over there at South Elementary truly gives you an advantage of very much in an interview process being able to speak that language and be able to answer those questions because she has had that really truly boots on the ground experience as part of that program. So kudos to you. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Congrats.
I got a few words. Ashley, congratulations on y'all making it where y'all did.
Thank you.
Awesome. Raven, y'all, congratulations. I mean, you're representing yourself, our community, and every step forward is you're building your resume for tomorrow. So congratulations, best of luck to you, and hopefully you get to come back and work here one day.
I do have, real quick, we have a surprise. You're welcome. We're gonna pass out some shirts for you guys. And you can put them on because they run a little large, and I got your sizes. So when we take our beautiful picture, you can put that on and we're just like you're done with the taffy shirt. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes. Yes, I got you. We got
Now on.
Yeah, Dr. G.
If you start something, I know where you go.
And
You hear me?
and yeah, we so
Yes.
welcome. Yes, sir.
If you start something with these shirts, I know
Oh.
where you
It's Miss Reed. There you go.
You gotta wear it on Sunday now, Dr. Odom.
Y'all look so good right now.
Don't.
Leave it to Cassie.
Oh, Dr. Gilstrap, you too. Look at how sharp y'all look. You're
We're
welcome.
just trying to blend in.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all come on up
And,
here.
first time for everything, guys.
Yes.
You're welcome.
We don't get any gifts from everybody else.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, right.
1, 2. 1, 2.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Wish you well. Thank you. Thank you. Go to the airplane. Thank you.
You take it off. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Bye.
You can be dismissed unless you want to stay for the excitement. So you don't want to stay for anything, so thank you. Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. Ms. Petrie, do we have any public comments?
Yes, sir.
So now move on to reports and updates. Dr. Gilstrap starts off with the superintendent report.
Yes, first of all, board members, I want to say welcome back to the boardroom. In preparing our early childhood center and talking to Dr. Schluter, she has indicated that there is sufficient space in here to keep the dais, and so we're going to move back in here, and thank you for your cooperation as we moved down there last month. It went great, but obviously we're back to get into a setting like this, and so thank you, Dr. Schluter, and to your staff for making this arrangement. As you can see from the floors out here, we are still completing some renovations. They actually stripped the floors, but before they got ready to wax them this weekend, and I said, well, hold on, I got a board meeting in there, and the fumes will be pretty bad. So those will be done by next month. So First of all, as you can see from this evening, congratulations to our students who've been having an exciting and great spring semester. So far this year, our one-act play cast competed in an area. They did not quite qualify for the regional competition, but kudos to them for their accomplishments. Multiple students are advancing in academic UIL events. Boys and girls soccer teams both advanced to the playoffs, and boys actually finished district competition undefeated this year for the first time in school history. So congratulations to them for that big accomplishment. We've also had, I believe, 3 FFA teams that are advancing to state as well. We had that competition this past weekend. Baseball, softball, track, golf, all of those have individuals or teams that are looking to advance in the playoffs. So it's really been a successful spring as they represent the district and the community. The Benefits Committee of Employees is in the process of reviewing the proposed sick bank and bereavement policies and guidelines prior to presenting those to the board for approval. This was discussed briefly last month. It is something that we've been talking to our staff about, and they are very positive in the way they're reacting, and also just thankful that the board and the administration does listen to them and create some of these opportunities to provide a benefit during what can be a personally stressful time, and we want to try to ease some of that stress for them. So we do expect to have a presentation of those guidelines to the policy committee sometime in April or May with board action in June, so we can implement those sick bank and bereavement programs for next school year. We'll continue to look into and develop our optional flexible school day program through TEA. This program will be targeted to our dropout and truancy prevention programs and those students that are struggling. This would meet our identified area where our completion rate and our attendance rates are dropping off at high school and really across the state, but we need to make sure we're addressing those things here while still maintaining our ADA. So we want to be able to open up that option for them. The success of the program will truly be in the graduation rate, not necessarily the number of kids that are in that program. I want 100% of the kids that are in it to finish. I think that's what's so important. So once these details are complete, we will have to have a formal application process to TEA, and we will be presenting that to the board in the coming months. Our third long-range planning committee meeting was held on Wednesday, April the 19th. During the last meeting, the committee identified 5 areas of need. The agenda for the next meeting will be to identify ways to address those needs. Ultimately, the committee will make a recommendation to the board on where we've been, where we are now, and how we need to move forward. The recommendation was scheduled to be presented in May. However, it may be delayed to June because the committee really wants to make sure they get sufficient information. So there may be a 4th meeting depending on the process and how far they come in the next meeting. Just to be real clear, the committee at this time is not recommending a bond election or anything like that. They are simply reviewing options and setting priorities for facilities and long-term or long-range planning. Alyssa last week did send out a reminder email about the TASB Leadership Institute on June the 15th and 16th in San Antonio. So if you did not get that, or if you haven't filled out that survey, please do so. The opening of registration coming up soon, and we want to make sure we get everybody registered that really wants to attend. That is a great opportunity to meet other board members from across the state, and also you can get your continuing education hours all at one time. We are continuing our We're Listening tour across all campuses. So the senior cabinet has been meeting on campuses with any employee that wants to meet with us. We just make ourselves available to listen and to provide some information. Some of them have kind of come in that first time. This is the first time we've done it since I've been here, and some of them are kind of hesitant. They come in and say, well, we're not sure what to expect, and what. I said, it's real simple. We're here listening. So what's the hot topic? What do you want to talk about? And they've been very good about coming in and expressing some ideas that they have and some of the concerns that they have. And I always tell them too, you need to make sure you tell me the good things, because otherwise I'll concentrate on the things we need to address and I'll forget to do the things that are working so successfully. So you gotta remind me of both. Graduation will be Friday, May the 26th, so make sure you mark your calendar at Eschenberg Stadium. Board members will meet in the Tiger's Den in the field house at 7 o'clock. And we will have regalia there for you to wear. We will lead the class of 2023 into the stadium at 7:15 for a 7:30 start time. So make sure you have your calendar marked for that. Also, board members will be presenting diplomas to graduates, so if there's a particular graduate that you would like to present to, if you can please let us know, and we will be getting you a list of graduates as soon as that becomes available from the high school. Included in this update is an updated list of upcoming events. It's pretty lengthy. It's a couple of pages long, so make sure you look at that. On that list, it is included in your packet. There are some events listed in blue. Those are kind of the primary events, and also they are banquets and things like that where you do need to RSVP. So if you plan to attend any event, please let me or Alyssa know, but specifically those events in blue whenever it comes to the banquets, because we need to make sure that arrangements are made for meals and things like that. Finally, per board policy DC local, beginning April 1st through August 31st, the board delegates authority to the superintendent to employ contract personnel. This allows the district to be competitive during the hiring season. We're able to offer contracts in a timely manner as teachers may receive multiple offers from multiple districts. Each month, the list of contracts offerings will be provided in the superintendent report to keep the board informed of all those hirings as they go through the summer. This month, I have included the recommendations for returning teachers and other contract staff. We will be extending those contracts to those recommended individuals in the coming days for the 23-24 school year. And then I do have a couple of events there that are upcoming, but really the two-page list behind that is really what's coming up. So a lot of opportunities to be out there and recognize our students and our staff, and so we encourage you to get out there and do that. Also, as always, I'm always available if you ever have any questions, concerns, please feel free to schedule a time to meet with me.
All right, thank you, Dr. Gilstrap. Mr. Schroeder will now give a security update report.
Good evening, Dr. Gilstrap, Dr. Odom, Board of Trustees. This evening, Mr. Urbanzik and I will be reporting on some of the safety and security measures we have here in place at Forestville ISD. While we as the district focus much of our attention on preventing incidents, we also prepare for emergency situations and work closely with local law enforcement agencies and first responders. It is safe to say we truly value student and staff safety in Forestville ISD, and we truly try to take a comprehensive approach to safety at Forestville ISD. Knox boxes have been installed at every campus, 16 Knox boxes to be exact throughout the district. We hired a security guard that mans Tiger Lane. In talking with Paulie, our security guard, he averages over 90 traffic stops a day to find out why they need to go to certain areas, and if they don't have a valid reason and or a student or staff ID, he turns them around. We have recently purchased the multi-purpose Raptor Technologies app to train, drill, alert, and reunify during an emergency. Mr. Urbanzik will speak to this app later in this report. Forestville ISD Police Department uses the same dispatch system as City PD, Wilson County Sheriff's Office, and the Department of Public Safety. Every Forestville ISD police officer is equipped with a long rifle and a ballistic shield. In regards to security cameras, we have over 560 district-wide. That's just not campuses, mostly campuses, but some at facilities such as teaching and learning here at Central Office, etc. We continue to conduct daily exterior door sweeps. We do that 2 times a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. They vary throughout the morning and afternoon time frame. We have implemented a volunteer program called POPS, Parents on Patrol Squad. I wish we had a little better turnout, but we do have some folks utilizing that, especially at the elementary campuses. All campuses are equipped with video intercom systems that require an employee to verify identity and show identification prior to allowing access to a campus. All campuses also have secure vestibules that restrict access to campus hallways and direct visitors to the front office. And our district, at all campuses, we utilize Raptor Alert, and that immediately responds to a sex offender through the running of the driver's license. Did that go? Yes, it did. We have an emergency operations plan that is submitted annually. I must submit that to the Texas School Safety Center. That is done annually, and that is a very extensive process. We do utilize the standard response protocol. That is to train our students and staff. That is local language with first responders and so forth. We do have a district-wide threat assessment committee. When we have threatening behavior from a student from the outside community or a violent incident report, we shall investigate that and determine what the next steps need to be for that individual. With that said, we also have all of our students and staff participate in Stop the Bleed training. And the next thing I wanted to touch briefly on is the intruder detection audits. So far this year, we have had a total of 4 intruder detection audits. That is done throughout the state of Texas. They're called, they give us a month window, and they will bring an investigator to a campus within that district. They do not tell us time, date, or the campus. But 3 of those 4 intruder detection audits we've had this year were no findings. Recently, we did have 1 finding on a campus, but we have completed a corrective action plan that was successful in the eyes of the Texas School Safety Center, so that has been rectified. Our most recent campus audit was Friday, March 24th. I think we impressed that auditor as he attempted to enter the building in front of the Teacher of the Year prize patrol, along with 2 board members present and 8 administrators, along with Dr. Gilstrap saying during the picture with the Teacher of the Year, "Go get that guy."
And 3 blondies went
Yeah,
down the hall.
it is safe to say we did not have a finding at that campus. That intruder, that the investigator truly picked the wrong date and time and campus for an intruder detection audit.
Who tackled him?
Yeah, Miss Brooks, she won the prize. With that said, we do, as you know, we have our own police department in the district, and so that means we have a school resource officer at every campus. Lastly, safety is never ending. Lindsay and I have filled out 2 grants. We don't know how much money we will be receiving. I never want to promise anything, but I expect all districts to get some money from the state. That I think in August we'll be notified, Lindsay, is that?
We got the one for the SPAT, the silent panic alert for 9,500, and the other one isn't due till August.
Yeah, so we'll know more in August. So hopefully we'll get some money. We do have an action plan in place, how that is gonna be spent, but we don't know the amount yet. With that said, video pictures sometimes say a lot, so I wanted to share a few pictures with some of the projects we have completed with that. And so teaching and learning moved from central office to the old theater arts building on Tiger Lane. We moved the theater arts students into the 800 wing, and really that was one of the biggest safety things we did. The picture on the right, that shows a newly installed access control system with like buzz-in where the employee can talk to the visitor, show me your identification, why are you here, before opening up those doors. Here is a picture of the completed guard shack with a motorized gate at the high school on Tiger Lane. Like I said, it averages 90, Polly, our security guard, averages 90 stops a day. This is a before and after. This is the 200 wing door to Tiger Lane directly across from the T&L building. It has double panic bar gates with center detachable mullion. This gives us a buffer. This door there is a door that used to be unlocked a lot. And it was propped open by the students with a rock and different things. And so this panic bar, these double gates here, really acts as a buffer. One, they can't get to those windows and so forth. And so just another safety feature. That was the most accessible door when I was principal at the high school and so forth. So to me, that's big right there. It truly is. Okay, what you see here is here is the Knox box. What you see here is a vehicular gate and a turnstile right here, where if students were in here, this part, they could get out going towards South Elementary. But you can't get into this part of the campus because of this turnstile, is why we put that there. All Knox boxes, I'll let James talk a little bit about that, but very handy. Our first responders, Wilson County Sheriff's Office, Fire Department, ESD, City, they all have a key to that Knox box with a lot of detailed information when there is an emergency. What we have here is we replaced the old sliding gate where, if some of you remember, Mr. Mooch, you may remember some students, an intruder could go under this gate. Since then, we have lowered it with a swinging gate. We also added fence screen all along this area, so it's not as easy to see where students congregate during passing periods and so forth. This is a before and after picture. We've installed 5 of these egress bar gates here along this whole fence here, and again, fence screen on the back side of middle school. I think I've shared with this one, years ago, not that long ago, we had a high-speed chase through here. So we put these up here, and then since then, we have added 30 foot of fencing right here to eliminate foot traffic. We do comply with the city and Texas School Safety Center in regards to best practices for portable buildings, but we also have installed, again, a panic bar gate. In the event of an emergency, our students can get out, but someone can't get in. We do not have the restrooms in these, so when a student goes out, they have the fob key that they check out from the teacher, and that allows them back in
Where'd
to
you
the
say that was?
facility. Ma'am?
Where did you say this were?
This is at Floresville South Elementary,
Oh, okay.
the portable.
And the gates start to go out like towards the baseball fields?
No, the gates go out towards the playground area of South Elementary.
Okay.
Does that make sense? This is the back side. This is closest to the baseball field over here.
Uh-huh.
This gate right here, it's hard to see, but it's kind of the other side of this deck that you can I might be in your way, but it's on the other side of this walkway.
So that keeps somebody from walking like to the entrance to the portables?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Somebody should somehow jump a fence back here where that parking lot is or whatever, or they get inside the school, they would have to somehow, they would not have a key to open this gate. And if there was a fire, our students would press this panic bar and they could get out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, and just our most recent project that we just completed, Mr. Spody, you'll probably be familiar with this. This is over 1,200 foot of fencing on the west side of North Elementary.
Wish I was still in the fencing business.
We do plan on the front here along 775. We plan on putting a gate here, so we're not completely done with that, but yeah, I hear you on that. With that said, again, this was just a snippet of our safety measures when it comes to hardening our schools. We did not discuss student ID badges, emergency go kits, anonymous self-reporting websites, numbers, and our community does use those and so forth. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Banzik, and he's going to share some information on our first intruder portal and our Raptor emergency management system.
Sure, thanks. So it's our first responder portal.
I'm sorry,
That's all right. So Mr. Scholler talked about the Knox boxes, and I mean, I don't know if you know what's in there, but they can only open by those certain keys that the first responders have, and it's got maps, it's got key cards and keys and things. They can get physical access into the buildings and helps them when they're on site for these emergencies. And kind of a neat idea Dr. Gilstrap had was creating that digital version of the same thing, because for those folks that might be helping run that operation that aren't at that site, it happens where they might be remote. And so we built it on the website. If you go to that safety and security homepage and you hit that page, it's going to prompt you for a login. And so we provided that login information to some of those key first responders, like the city, the county, the fire department, and whatnot. So they can log in, they get access to these digital resources, right? So I've got it grayed out because it is sensitive information that we've got in there, but I mean, it's got direct phone numbers, cell phones, and everything to all the district and campus administrators. Our emergency operations plan, there's copies, digital download of it in there as well. And then a lot of maps, various things on those maps, including the fire routes, the aerial views, it's called the campus numbered maps, utility cutoffs, electric, gas, water, those kinds of things. I mean, just all kind of information they could use digitally. So we're just trying to get it a different way. More information, the better, right? Sir.
Just gonna interrupt you real quick. How is that? Is that all like in paper in there, or is that actually on a map? You can
PDFs.
log in PDFs.
Well, now the first responder portal is all PDF, but are you talking about in the Knox box?
In the Knox box
In the Knox
itself.
box.
That's paper, yes, sir.
Okay, so there's paper in there.
That's grab and go. So
As long as we got the right keys, because we did one the other day, we couldn't get in. All 3 Knox boxes had keys, we couldn't get in. So I'm sure we have the right keys, but it does happen.
They're
You know,
the ones that opened it up and put it in.
You're changing locks and stuff.
You're not referring to opening at Floresville, though, correct, Mr. Sedona? Yeah.
I'm saying, because of a lot of changes, a lot of gates get changed, and we forget about the Knox box. So you change the locks, everybody, and maintenance has the right key, you forget about the lock box. So that's something to think about.
Yes.
But sorry to interrupt you.
And so the next thing that I want to talk about was the Raptor software. So Mr. Schuller mentioned there's a piece that we've been using for years, which is our visitor management. We run everybody's ID and it checks against the sex offender database, makes you a badge if you come into the campuses. And so the same company makes an emergency management software that we've purchased this year and we're trying to get going. Offers 4 main things, which is the emergency notifications, accountability, reunification, and drill management. You know, this software has a web-based version and it's got an app you install on your phone. And it directly integrates with our student information system. So all the kids, all the teachers, their schedules, staff members, all that stuff's nightly fed in there so it stays in sync. And so that first piece that we're talking about is emergency notifications. We talked about the student response protocol. It directly mirrors that. So we're using the same terminology when we talk about incidents. And so, you know, when you hit one of these buttons, automatically it's going to send out alerts. It does, the app has its own critical alert, which will ring through if your phone is on silent. It's just like those state and federal alerts you get on your phones. It'll ring right through that. So it also does text messaging and email also. We have the option to add third parties in there, like our dispatch, maybe at the county. Maybe we can put them in there so when we hit it, they get that stuff firsthand. We're not having to make a phone call. Once that emergency is initiated and we're in the emergency, then we've got some internal messaging. It's even tiered where we've got administrators talking to each other and we've got everybody else at the campus having a way to communicate that's not loud, it's quiet, it's there, it's available. And it works anywhere you got data. If it's cellular data or Wi-Fi, either way, it'll work everywhere. While in that emergency then, the next kind of 2 pieces that go together is accountability. We're talking about taking attendance of who's with you and finding out that teacher's roster's in there. So if you're in second period, you go to second period, it lists all your students. Now you can put where you're at and maybe you move somewhere else. Maybe you're not even working today, you're off. You can say, I'm not here today. Locate your students and then put in whatever problems you may have, or if everybody's safe and okay, I don't know if you can read it there, but you know, missing, injured, I can't find this student. You know, maybe they're absent. So once we get through all of that and the incident is closed, then we get to reunification, is really getting those kids somewhere where we can reunite them with their family and making sure it's the right people. We want to get them home safe with the right people. So the parent guardian information's in there with, you know, phone information, addresses, all those kinds of things.
And the teachers use this, it's pretty user-friendly?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
We're still doing some training.
It just sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot.
It
So-
seems like a lot of information you got to load in there.
Oh, right, that's why it's so important that it's right. That's right. But, and the drill managers, that last piece, we've been doing drills forever. I mean, since you guys were in school and I've been in school, we've always run drills. And so it has a digital platform for doing that. I mean, right now it does all the scheduling. We put all that stuff in there. You see a nice, pretty screenshot of that dashboard we get that says where we're at in compliance. We can, oh, I didn't go, sorry. There we go, my bad. Record keeping and compliance, because we have to report on these things. You see the dashboard, it gives us alerts when trainings, when these drills are coming up. And I think the last part that is also important is we're gonna drill the way we're gonna run an actual emergency. So when we get it 100% up and going, which we haven't yet, is we will drill the same way that we run an emergency. So we'll do all those different things that we talked about already. So far, Drill Manager is the one thing that we've used this whole school year. We started that probably October, November, I want to say, and now we've been moving forward with nonstop. We've had some trainings where we brought in our security leadership from the campuses in the district, and we've run through the app. We've built a test school in there. We've heard the alerts. We've gone through the procedures ourselves. We've watched the trainings. That was interesting to see. We're finding little kinks here and there that we're working through. And I think right now the biggest problem we have is synchronizing that data, making sure it's the right way. Because once we set it, we forget it, it just should be updating and keeping track of who left the district, who's coming in, students in and out, course changes. I mean, that's very important to make sure your data's right. And so I think the biggest goal that we've got is getting this thing up and going, reliable, users trained and ready to implement by the time we start school next school year. So that's where we're at.
So the emergency management piece of the app is really comes from our need to communicate in a very timely manner, because we're still going to make the announcement on the PA system, but overnight squirrel chewed into the wire and we don't know, and all of a sudden it doesn't work. Or by the time we radio the office and then get somebody there, that may take 30 seconds. And 30 seconds is a lot of time when there's an incident. So the app is something that we can very quickly, and no matter where they are, what if they're out on the football field or on the band field or whatever, they're able to get that alert, and hitting that alarm is a 2 or 3 step process. So it doesn't happen just easily in your pocket. So whenever they do that, there's also an option to call 911. So while the person who's reporting it is on the phone to 911, everybody else, including law enforcement, has already got the alert, and they're coming before dispatch even radios them and tells them. So it's going to be those seconds is what matter, and so that's going to be a really key piece to it. In the end, we'll have every employee, every teacher. But now the thing about that is, and I've talked to other districts that have these technologies, and they have about 2 or 3 times a year where somebody accidentally, and whenever you accidentally set it off, the cavalry's coming. I mean, the police are responding, because obviously if they get an alert that there's an incident at school, they're going to respond. And so, and then all of a sudden they get there, well, Johnny threw a pencil across the room and hit Susie, and I felt like we needed to go into lockdown. Well, no, that's not quite what we're looking for. And so we've got to make sure people are not only trained on how to use it, but when to use it, when's it properly supposed to be used. So thank you to Mr. Banzik and Mr. Schroller for the hard work they're putting into this, because it never ends, but it is something we want to constantly keep implementing.
And I think we've heard you report before, Dr. Gilstrap, that from a drill management, I think one time you time how long it takes to get the whole campus empty. So this will be a real time, you can actually time it and know exactly real time where everyone is.
And it also, with the drill manager piece, it documents everything. So even your after action pieces that because you always have an after action meeting, what worked, what didn't work, it documents all of that. So we have a place to store all of that information. Because if there ever is an incident, they're going to want to know how often do you practice and where are all your notes for that, and it keeps it all in one spot.
I just want to compliment you and all that with the emergency service and everything in place, because they're still going to schools, and I feel very comfortable. Even when we didn't have quite everything in with that one particular incident we had, they said, "Boy, y'all locked down fast." I said, "Yep."
I would echo that. The security measures that were put in place doesn't look like a Band-Aid. Everything that was added, fences, gates, panic bars, is nice. Yes.
So I had a question about the intercoms on the outside playground and stuff like that. They're all, we have most all that place. But like you said, we don't have anything football field.
Correct.
You can't get to everybody. But now having this, almost everybody might have their phone, might not, but it'll get a lot faster.
And it's also, what if they're even at the playground, but they're a little further away from the building, particularly in the north or whatever. And they're obviously, you don't want them responding coming back to the school, because that's where the situation is. You want them to stay where they're at. So.
And then one other question about our radio communication with the city. How often do we test those radios to make sure that's working with y'all? Y'all do it pretty often?
That's a great question, because the county just upgraded their radio system to 800 megahertz because we were back on UHF. So these are actually brand spanking new Daily Whale radios that Dr. Gilstrap got some funding for us. So now we are 800 megahertz, and we have tested every one of the campuses. Actually, the day that the guy from LCRA came in the office, I just programmed my radio and got all the channels set up. We have our own channel, and we have talk around that the dispatcher monitors, and we have everybody's channels also. But I told him, I said, you know, my radios never work inside my office because it's at the alternative school in that big metal building, and so I told him, let's find out. I turned my radio on, and I could immediately hear the dispatcher for the first time since I've been here. So currently, we have not found a spot that the radios don't work. And we've been doing radio tests since we got, 800 megahertz for us was a blessing, because before, you know, I thought we were going to be Uvalde where we couldn't talk on the radio, but that wasn't a school district thing. That was a radio problem that the county had.
So that's good. And then we test them pretty often then.
We do. As a matter of fact, we just literally, in the last week, tested the radios on every campus, because we just got these.
Good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right.
All right. Dr. Wade will now present the BIP formative review.
Okay, good evening, President Odom, Dr. Gilstrap, and board members. Tonight I'm going to give you a quick update on the status of the strategies of our district improvement plan. Tonight I will share someday. Oh, it went all the way through. Okay, don't know how that happened. There we go. So tonight I will share the formative review, which was conducted by the district leadership team in March and includes a review of all 4 goals. I'm providing you just a summary only, and I apologize, I did not have the detailed district improvement plan formative review in your board packet, but it is at your station tonight for you to review if you like. So beginning with goal 1, which is excellent student outcomes, there are 4 objectives and 32 strategies. So far we've accomplished 2 and have made considerable progress on 27. Here are the highlights for this particular goal. For student safety and well-being, 2 of our campuses have been recommended to be a national showcase school for capturing kids' hearts, so that's quite an accomplishment just to be recommended. Both the middle school and the high school had the Wilson Carnes Juvenile Probation Youth Services presented to staff and students on the dangers of using drugs. For academic growth, our teachers and staff attended a response to intervention, what we call RTI conference, in January, and we are debriefing to create a task force to review our systems to support students who are struggling. And our campuses completed the middle of year screeners for math and reading and reviewed the student needs from that data. Also, both the middle school and high school are working on blitzes to help prepare students for upcoming STAR assessments and end of course exams. And both of those campuses also have Saturday schools planned. In the area of innovative and personalized learning, to help improve our implementation to support our students receiving dyslexia services, we transitioned to Reading by Design as our dyslexia program to replace MTA, which was called multi-sensory teaching approach. That particular program requires less time each day, and according to Ms. Cantu, is much more effective in addressing the needs of our students. In the area of blended learning, teachers from every campus have attended a site visit to 3 other districts and have identified some specific strategies for them to implement. In the area of technology, the technology committee got to see some new piloting technology with some pilot carts, and currently we have 5 pilot carts that are on each campus going to 15 teachers to get some feedback at our next committee meeting. So we've also shared at the tech committee about the changing in ratios. Our pre-K, kinder, and first grade classrooms will not be 1-to-1. They'll be classroom sets in a 2-to-1 down to 4-to-1 ratio. In the area of Future Ready, we have met with Palo Alto and Coastal Bend and are updating our dual credit offerings and hope to add a couple more face-to-face dual credit offerings at the high school this next year. And then finally, the high school has continued to support testing, and they tested all 11th graders this year for the SAT test. A tremendous increase in participation, trying to make sure kids are prepared for college if they choose to go that route. Goal 2 is superior workplace environment. This goal has 3 objectives and 16 strategies, of which we've made considerable progress on 14. Highlights for this is that we conducted our bilingual English second language self-assessment, which we were required to do by the results-driven accountability, and have identified strategies of implementation to improve our emergent bilingual program for next year. But even though we just went through the self-assessment, campuses were already working on trying to address the needs of our emergent bilinguals, and both secondary campuses did some training for teachers on effective instructional strategies for those students. In the area of staff safety and well-being, as Dr. Gilstrap shared, the Benefits Committee has met, so I won't talk about all that. And then in staff engagement, we provided some incentives to encourage our teachers to apply to teach summer school, because that's a need for us trying to find staff. And then we also completed those We're Listening sessions, which Dr. Gilstrap also shared in his report. In Goal 3, exceptional customer service and community engagement. This has 3 objectives and 4 strategies, of which we've had considerable progress on 3. So areas to highlight is the long-range planning committees that Dr. Gilstrap mentioned. We've had students participating in those committees. In the area of family engagement, the secondary campuses had emergent bilingual nights for families to attend. And the high school actually had a Telemundo reporter come and talk with those families. And Pre-K Roundup had 82 students that came out on that night to get registered, 82 families registered students. And the drug awareness presentations also were involved for families. And then, as Dr. Gilstrap said, that second long-range planning committee meeting. The last goal is Goal 4, strategic resource management, which has 4 objectives and 9 strategies, which we've made considerable progress on 6 of those strategies. Some highlights is we've gotten feedback from every campus on our draft strategic plan 2.0 and are working to finalize that for next year. We had held staffing meetings in the area of systematic operational effectiveness and efficiency to look at staffing allocations for next year with each campus. In the area of systematic facility management and planning for growth, again, those long-range planning committee meetings have been held. And in the area of systematic safety and security processes, as Mr. Schroeder mentioned, we've applied for 2 safety grants, and the emergency operations plan has been completed. That concludes the 3rd formative review. In July, I will bring you the summative review.
Maybe in late June, not July.
Okay, late June, okay. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have them. Okay, thank you.
Wait till June.
I'm sorry.
Wait till June.
Wait till
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wade. Next on the agenda is item number 5, action items. First action item is the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions or discussion on the items on the consent agenda?
Board members, we do have one thing that's on the consent agenda. It's our agreement with Walsh, Gallegos, Trevino, Russell, and Kyle for attorney retainer, which is required by policy that we do have a retainer with an attorney. And so that annual approval is included in the consent agenda.
If there are no other questions, anyone would like to make a motion on this item?
I so move.
All right, Ms. Reed?
Just to be clear, Ms. Reed, you're moving to approve as presented.
Approve the.
Yeah, as presented, yeah.
As presented. Okay, second?
I'll second that.
Ms. Schauber, okay.
Mr. Smoke over there.
Any other?
Change it up on you.
Any other questions or discussion? All right. All in favor of accepting the consent agenda, let me know by raising your hand. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next action item is to consider approval of instructional materials allotment and TEKS certification presented by Dr. Wade.
Yes, sir, Dr. Adam. Good evening again. The instructional materials allotment and TEKS certification form is an annual requirement by the Texas Education Agency that the school board must approve, that says that all the materials that we have asked for reimbursement or purchase from our Technology and Instructional Material Allotment Fund have been approved through the normal process, and that we have materials for our core areas that cover 100% of the TEKS, which we do. So the certification form is included in your packet, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. All right, hearing no questions, administration recommends the board approve the instructional materials allotment and TEKS certification as required by the Texas Education Agency.
I move to accept administration's recommendation.
Second.
Second. Mr. Moots. Okay, any further discussion or questions? All in favor? Let me know by raising your hand. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
We now consider approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement with the Karnes-Wilson County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program and the agreement for shared persons employment with Karnes-Wilson County Juvenile Justice Board for the 2023-2024 school year. That was a lot. Present in the segment.
Good evening, Dr. Odom, Dr. Gilstrap, members of the board. This evening we bring to you the Karnes-Wilson County Juvenile Justice Board agreement for our local JJAEP. The board works with 7 school districts, Floresville, Poth, Livonia, Stockdale, Karnes City, Kennedy, and Falls City, to come up with this contracted service interlocal agreement for the JJAEP services for the 23-24 school year. The agreement was developed with the board, the judges for both counties, along with the districts. So tonight we bring you, we recommend that you approve the FISD interlocal agreement with the Karnes-Wilson County Juvenile Justice Board. This is for 180 contracted days. Each district is contracted for 180 days at $10,000, and any overages on those days would be charged at $56 per day. Along with that agreement, is there any questions on that agreement? It's the same agreement we've had for the last bunch of years. Along with that, we also have, we're asking that the district approve the attached interlocal agreement with the Karnes-Wilson County Juvenile Justice Board. We've also done this one for the last several years. It's a shared teacher, or a teacher for the JJAEP. The district, as a fiscal agent, pays $32,500 towards the salary of this teacher. Again, that's been the same for the last, as long as I've been here, years. This is part of the budget for the JJAEP program, and it meets the education requirements in the JJAEP agreement that this program operates under. So the attachment, the agreement is attached. Are there any questions on that?
So board members, we do have Judge Whitman, new judge for Wilson County. Did speak with him very briefly about the JJAP contract that we have. He had not had a chance to really get down and really get into it. So there may be changes to this for next year, but for this school year, we presented no changes to it.
So if there are no questions, administration recommends the board approve the interlocal cooperation agreement for the Karnes-Wilson County Juvenile Justice Alternative Education Program and the shared persons employment with Karnes-Wilson County Juvenile Justice Board for the 23-24 school year as presented.
I move to accept administration's recommendation.
You have to repeat.
Second? Second. Okay. Ms. Martinez, okay. Any further questions? All right, all in favor, let me know by raising your hand. Opposed, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our last action item is to consider approval of purchases exceeding $50,000. Mr. Lomsick, share all that with us.
You bet. Good evening again. So back in February, if you remember, we made our first part of our technology device refresh purchase, and that was for our 2nd through 12th graders getting Chromebooks. This is something I mentioned where we had an opportunity to reevaluate how we implement devices for the younger students, and we did that. We had a technology committee meeting right after that last board meeting. We've been talking a long time about changing the device and the ratios, and so we've kind of adopted that model. And what we'd like to do is at the pre-K level do a 4-to-1 ratio, and that kinder and 1st grade be a 2-to-1 ratio, and then also transition those device types. They've been using iPads for years. You know, we have an opportunity to move to a 2-in-1 Chromebook, so this thing will flip all the way around, has the touch screen. So we get the keyboard use that we've kind of been lacking in having that adjustment moving into 2nd grade with a keyboard device onto Google. So now we keep that device the same across both you know, platforms. and they still get to use that touchscreen that they're so familiar with, especially at those younger ages. On top of that, it adds some flexibility for the teachers getting to use our Go Guardian software, which helps them manage the classroom. They can see the devices, get them on the right websites and things. So that's helpful as well. All the software still stays the same. Nothing was, specific to an iPad. We use mostly web-based things. Seesaw stays the same for parents, and ClassLink for our single sign-on. So that was helpful. The technology committee recommended that we visit with those teachers, so we did. I took an opportunity to meet with the staff at South Elementary. Ms. Brooks and Dr. Schluter actually met with the North Elementary teachers. I think for the most part it went over pretty well. There was always a little hesitation, but I think we really won them over, and we showed them the device has a rear-facing camera, like an iPad, where you can hold it up and take pictures. And they're just really willing to take this jump with us and see how it's going to work. So the plan would be to transition 1 grade a year to this device. And so this coming year, we'd like to buy for first grade. That's 220 devices. You have 2 quotes there in your packet. I knew a third one was coming. Got it about 3 p.m. today, so it's actually on the orange paper, which was a great thing because it really dropped that price down a bunch. A little over more than $18,000 actually. So this vendor, ODP Solutions, which is the same one as last time, came in right at $72,160. It's quite a savings, like I said, than what we saw from the other vendors. So, and again, this purchase is going to make partly from title monies and then local monies to finish it off. And we bring this to you today because board policy CH local says we have to get board approval for any purchases over $50,000. So I'm happy to answer any
Still
questions.
have time to get it here in a timely manner, lead time?
So far, it's looking like that, yes, sir. The ones we bought in February, they're already here, been here for a while, actually, so the supply chain's looking pretty good right now.
Is it the same vendor?
Same vendor, yes, sir, that's correct. Different brand and model device, but same vendor.
Are we replacing these with the old ones, some of the old ones? Is this still some of the flip, or these are gonna be all new?
These kids are on iPads, so we'll be removing the iPads.
Remove the iPads.
And putting touchscreen, 2-in-1 touchscreen Chromebooks out.
I know we started doing the flip around and replacing, so I didn't know if this is gonna be a little different.
It is replacing older models, and then going forward, once we get all 3 grade levels, we will start that whole process of just obsolescence.
Yeah.
Okay, no questions, and administration recommends the board approve the student device purchase as presented.
We have a motion to accept. Recommendation.
I'll move to accept the administration's recommendation.
Okay, Mr. Boots makes a motion, and Mr. Fleer seconds it. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, let me know by raising your hand. One opposed? Motion carries. All right. We now conclude our agenda for this meeting. We need to go under further business. Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned at 7:47 p.m.